I'm Sue, so welcome to my channel. Today I want to just touch on the subject of boundaries. Boundaries are something that are really difficult to keep going long term. And obviously, sometimes boundaries do have to, shift a little. Sometimes there has to be a bit of give and take. And as life goes on, you sometimes have to, change them around a little bit, but they still should be there. Boundaries are something I've struggled with sticking to over the last, probably ever, to be fair. I've always put everybody else first, always. And it's one of my biggest flaws, is that I do put myself last. And if I wake up in the morning with an intention of doing something for myself, quite often it will get put off and put off and put off throughout the day until I'm too tired to do that thing. It's too late to do that thing. It's too dark to do that thing. And it gets pushed on to the next day, which again, might happen, might not. It might be just a complete repeat of the day before. And, eventually, before you realise it, 3 or 4 days have gone past and you still haven't done that thing. And that's where the boundaries really do need to come in, and we really do need to stick to them. It's important. It's important for our well-being. It's important for our mental well-being. It's important for our physical well-being, depending on what that thing is, and it's overall it's important, but it's also important for other people to have the respect for you to maintain those boundaries, for you to implement them boundaries. Not always, oh, it's okay, yeah, okay, come on then, I'll just do that, because then that your intention for that day goes out the window because somebody else has butt in and sort of hijacked your day, really. But it's not because they're not doing it because they're selfish or they're got any sort of ill intent. They're just asking for some help, and you're quite often, if you're an empath like me, I'll be their first port of call. And then they do sometimes, especially if it's children, they do sometimes expect you to drop everything and give them your time, which of course, if they're your children, of course you're going to do that. But there still should be boundaries, especially if they're adults and and they've got their own lives, they've got their own families. There has to be an understanding, a respectful understanding, that your time is as precious to you for yourself as it is for them or for anybody else. And if we continue to give, and we keep putting ourselves last, and we keep abandoning those intentions that we've set for ourselves, it does start to show up in everyday life, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, or even, for me, spiritually. There's things that I put off quite regularly because the situation's not quite right. It's not quiet enough. If I really do need to set more boundaries with a meditation practice that I stick to, because I get so distracted with things all the time. I'm an Aquarius, so I always have several things going on at once. And I can never know which one to do first. It's, I literally I should just roll a dice or, pick one out of a hat or something, because I am a typical Aquarian where I have several things on running at the same time, and I flip between them quite regularly. And sometimes I quite often don't even complete that one of the things or two of the things that I'm going with, and they'll just, you know, they'll sit on the shelf for days, weeks, months, sometimes even years. But I do believe that that is an Aquarian trait. But upon saying that, I know where my flaws are, because no one's perfect. And I do let myself down when boundaries are compromised, because I allow my boundaries to be compromised. And this is part of why things take me so long to get finished. Because yes, I'm an Aquarian, so I always have things that I'm flitting between, but also you pair that with a lack of respect for myself, for my own boundaries from myself. It's a, you know, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? And either way, that thing that you've intended to get done or start, you never actually reach it. And if you do, it'll be a rush job at the end of the day, so it never actually gets your full attention. It's difficult sticking to boundaries. I'm totally there. I totally get what, you know, how difficult it is for people, because I'm living proof, if you like, that how, you know, it's easy to just put your, you know, your intentions, your plans to one side while you fit in with everybody else's. And I've had a bit of a week this week. I know I've not made any videos for the last few weeks. And I think I've been contemplating with a lot. You know, my lifestyle has changed quite considerably over the last few months, and I think I just needed some time to sit and really contemplate and really get everything straight in my own mind, and not stop trying to be everything for everyone, stop trying to do everything for everyone, because it just runs you down. And when you have got physical challenges, you know, I have osteoarthritis in multiple joints, and I have fibromyalgia, which really can knock me for six sometimes. It really does play a pivotal role on your overall well-being. And I suppose, you know, today is, I've sat down I'm in my sanctuary, you know, my little corner of the house that is mine, which I'll give you a guided tour at some point. It's not looking too messy at the moment. We've done some decorating over the past couple of weeks, and unfortunately my sanctuary became a bit of a dumping ground for everything, because it backs onto the utility room. So yeah, there's been a bit of a, you know, there's been a bit of a epiphany, if you like, over the past few days, and I've made a solemn oath to myself that it's okay to say no. And it's something that I need to do occasionally. Well, no, actually, I need to do it more often. I need to say no more often, not, oh, okay, and push my own plans, needs, wants to the side, and they get left there indefinitely. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, and I'm sure, you know, there's lots of other women out there that feel the same, because the guilt you feel when you say no, I mean, oh my goodness, but you've got to let it go. You can't carry that guilt. There's no guilt to carry. It's respect. It's being respectful to yourself, and it's also teaching others that they need to respect you, your time, your plans, your health and your well-being, obviously. And I just feel that sometimes when you say no and mean it and stick to it, because again, you know, you can quite often say no and then go back on your word, things can start to change. And I had a big long talk with my husband the other day, and he totally agrees with me, and he's like, yeah, well, why don't you do it? I'm fine. You don't need to do, you know, you don't need to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z with, you know, for me, and again, that's my nurturing side. That's my, yeah, I just want to assist them. I want to help them all the time. I want to, you know, give them a hand with what they're doing, and they don't actually need it. And I think that's, you know, that's my problem. You know, that's my thing that I need to work through. And I think because I have, you know, my animal family, and they all need me, and I think I love being needed. And I think sometimes, you know, it will go back to my childhood quite often. For me, I wasn't needed as a child. I was left to my own devices as a child, and not that I got into trouble or anything, but I was always the one that was left out, put it that way. It was my mum and my sister. My two brothers were much older than us and weren't at home really when me and my sister were children growing up with my mum. My dad was estranged. He never lived in the family home, and he sort of abandoned me and my sister when I was 8. So I suppose it's always been a little bit of a, I'm not needed. So I'm being very, very honest here, and I suppose I just surround myself with things that do need me. I'm, you know, as I say, I've got my animal family. My husband needs me to a degree, of course he does, as I need him. You know, we're a partnership, aren't we? We're a team, and we do a lot of things together here with, you know, with the horses. It's, you know, it's, as we're getting older, we both need to help get them give them what they need. So, you know, we do help each other out as far as that's concerned. We've got a huge garden, so we need to help each other where we're doing things, you know, in the garden. So yeah, you know, there's got to be a compromise. There's got to be a balance. There's got to be a happy medium. So I do feel there's a lot of inner work that I'm still yet to do for myself. And I think this video has actually probably just highlighted it for me, which is good, because it comes when it's meant to. You know, you heal things from your past when the time's right, when you're ready. And obviously now is the time that I'm ready to heal that part of my, you know, my shadows, I suppose. I suppose that's what they are. I have to be, I feel like I have to be needed. And, you know, as I say, I've got my family of animals who I love dearly and will literally lay down my life for. My children are all adults. They all have their own families. They're all doing their own thing. And of course, I would lay down my life for any of them or my grandchildren. It goes without saying. And I've also I've always had a bit of an interest in gardening and plants, and I've always wanted to have my own herb garden. Not quite got there yet, but I have purchased more herbs this year, that are actually surviving and growing, which is great, because I did start a herb garden a few years ago and everything just died. It obviously wasn't the right time. So I have started with the herbs in my garden. Also, I've got an abundance of rose trees here as well. So there's literally, because I do a lot of apothecary, and make my own skincare and all stuff like that. Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying doing that, because that's just for me, isn't it? It's just for me. So in a way, it's a bit of a self-care practice. I get my little wooden basket and off I go foraging for bits and pieces that I need for to make some skincare, to make a anti-aging cream, or a moisturizer, or a shampoo, or something like that. And I suppose that is a form of self-care. And I need to take a leaf out of my own book where I say I need to feel needed, but my body also needs to be needed as well. So I need to look after myself too. Yeah. So I think I've had a realization in this video. Literally I've come into my sanctuary, I've closed the door, I've put my phone in the phone holder on the stand, and I've sat down and I've just started talking. I suppose it could be like a journal entry, couldn't it, today? This is my journal entry. I didn't write it down, I spoke it out loud, which again is immensely powerful, as is writing it, but saying it out loud, I think that has a little bit more of a kick to it. And recording it as well, and then putting it out on so that it's globally available. That's a big thing, isn't it? Yeah, I've definitely affirmed to the universe that this is something that is obviously poignant and needs to be addressed for me, and probably for a lot of other women as well. If you're listening to this and you can feel some parts of it really hit home to you, and or you may even have a realization and think, oh God, I didn't realize I was doing this. Or you may already have noticed that you've been doing it and you've healed your way through, and you're out the other side of that now, in which case that's amazing. But either way, we do have to keep ourselves accountable for ourselves. It's nobody else's job to do that. It's our job. And I think, sometimes give yourself a bit of a stern talking to. And tell yourself, look girl, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. You've got to crack on and start putting yourself first. Which is really hard sometimes. I get that. I really get that. And yeah, especially with having horses, they eat before you. They have breakfast before you have your breakfast. You get up, you chuck on your clothes, whatever you've got laid out ready. You go and do what you've got to do for the horses. You're half asleep. Especially for me, I'm quite lucky. They're literally just like 20 feet away from me here. Is they're hard standing, and their shelters, and obviously then they've got their field there as well. So it's a lot easier for me than it used to be. It used to be a good sort of 10-mile drive to the stables twice a day. So you'd have to wake up to get, obviously to drive there. So you'd have to make sure you're awake enough to drive. But now, I can literally just stumble out of bed and go out there in my pyjamas if I needed to, or if I wanted to, which I quite often do, to be fair. Just not my slippers, because I wouldn't want them treading on my foot. So I always make sure I've got some decent boots on. But you know, even just having the horses again is and the dogs, because you know they it's constant. It's a full-time job really. If you know, I've got 4 horses. 2 of them are very old now, so they need a lot of you know, extra things, extra care. And my 2 dogs, they're quite lively, and you know, so they need a good amount of exercise. But you know, got a 7-acre field there, they can mooch around it as and when they want to, really. We go for walks and stuff as well, which is great. I've got a very elderly cat who you can see actually in the background. I didn't realise he was in here. He's probably been there all day, to be fair. I know he was in here all night because he hid and I shut the door. He's oh gosh, he's 16. Yeah, he's 16 now. So he's entitled to sleep all day, isn't he, at that age? And then I've got another cat who's probably asleep upstairs or something. I don't know. He goes off and hides and sleeps. I quite often find him in all sorts of different places. He manages to get anywhere. As long as they're not in the conservatory, because that is mega hot in there today. But that's locked off. They can't get in there, so that's good. Yeah, he's 8 now. He's like my familiar. He's just like, yeah, we have such a deep connection, me and Ronnie, and I've got my parrot. Sorry, I can't call him a parrot. It's an African grey. He gets very cross if I call him parrot. He's actually being very quiet. He does normally butt in when I'm recording and say something that perhaps he shouldn't. He has got a few favourite little swear words that he's picked up over the years. But he's been remarkably quiet today, so hopefully he's asleep. He's only in the next room. Hopefully he's having a nap, not squealing at me. So yeah, you know, it's as much as it's yes, they all need me. It's all as equally as healing for me to have them in my life, and I'd never be without them. Never be without them at all. And so yeah, so honestly, you know, I've come on today and literally shown a real vulnerable side to myself, and it feels like I've just done a journal, a live journal entry. And I'm hoping that some of you will resonate with that. Some of you will be able to appreciate where I'm coming from and maybe even experiencing the same thing and wondering how to navigate yourself, you know, your way through it. That is where the boundaries come in. That is where the boundaries come in, and that is where the boundaries have to be. You have to abide by them. You really do. Yeah, you know, write it down every morning. You know, write an affirmation. Say an affirmation. Have a post-it note on your bathroom mirror. You know, so you see it. And you know, I am allowed to have time for myself. I am allowed to plan time for me. I am allowed to say no. That's a big one. It's not our favourite word as empaths. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that's given you something to you know, to ponder on for a little while. Obviously, if you have any suggestions, please pop them in the comments, because it will help not only myself but, you know, other viewers and who are watching. Definitely going to do this more regularly. This is, you know, this is one of my boundaries that I must do more things that help me my business grow. Simple as that. And this is one of those things that is, because they're both very, very closely knitted together, whether it's for me or my business, because my business is me, if that makes sense. But I am, I am my business. I think I've said that before, but I am. Without me, there isn't one, is there? It's simple. So I am the business. Yeah. So without babbling on any longer, I hope you're all very well. I hope you're all managing to achieve the things that you set out to achieve every day. And if you don't achieve those things for any reason, yeah, obviously, life happens. Some things are unavoidable. Get all that. But please don't keep putting them off for infinity, because, that day may never come. And there'll be things that you'll one day may well regret not doing. So, yeah, boundaries, they're important. And there's something that you shouldn't feel guilty about making. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time, and hopefully it won't be so long before my next video, before I upload my next video. Take care, everybody.